But as we share the next 30-odd minutes together, remember there's nothing amazing about me, but something very amazing about the 3 lessons I'd love to share. The only difference with me is that I am a magician. So I will be bringing some of you up on stage. So let's get one thing clear. If I pick you and you look away, I can still see you. It's very, very clear on this. So on that note, I'd like to begin with the first trick. And I also need a first volunteer, someone to join me, the first person. So could I get the lady there in the white, please? The lady in the white shirt, please, if you could join me. Sorry, just that lady there in the white, thank you. Could we give her a big round of applause as she joins me, please? Big round of applause. Good. Good. Thank you. Fantastic. So, thank you so much for your help. I appreciate this. Vivian, nice to meet you, Vivian. So please do have a seat, Vivian. And if you see anything in the audience, say nothing. Here we go. So Vivian, very simple game we're going to play. It's called Which Hand is the Tissue In? So we'll play a very simple game. I'm going to put the tissue in one of my hands. You have to guess which one it's in. Okay, very simple. So watch this very closely. I go once, twice, thrice. Which one's it in? Which one would you say? Point to the one you think it's in. It's in the other one. It's in the other one, yeah.
This one.
No, don't listen to me. I'm lying. Oh. Yeah, that's okay. We'll try this again. I'm a magician. Magicians trick people. So we'll try this again. Once, twice. I'll do it very slowly so you can see. Point to the one you saw it going to. Point to it. Okay, what? Vivian, watch. Don't take your eyes off my hands. Watch. It's gone. Yes, amazing. Thank you. We try this again. Watch this. It took many years of practice. It's a very difficult trick. Watch. If I go once, twice, which one's it in now? Point to the one you think it's in.
This one.
It's in the other one.
This one.
No, stick with it. I was telling the truth. Oh, we'll try again. So watch as I go once, twice, and very slowly now. Point to the one you saw it going to. Point to it.
This one.
Okay, watch. It's gone. Yes or no, the most amazing thing you've ever seen? Yes, it is. She said, yes, good. Now listen, don't laugh. If you were up here, you would have fell for it too. So Vivian, I'm going to tell you how I do this so you can join in on the point. So if you just look behind you, it's right there. Right, interesting, right. Vivian, all I did was I went once, twice, watch, and I threw it over your head. Please give her a big round of applause. She's lovely. Vivian, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. A big round of applause for Vivian. Good. Now, thank you for clapping. Childishly simple trick. I appreciate the applause. Why did I do this? You must always question, why did I do this? I use magic as my metaphor. The reason I did this is for the following reason. People always ask me a question when I speak, anywhere in the world. They say, Vin, what is magic? If you had to define it, what is magic? Magic is just the problem you cannot solve. So, for Vivian, what was the problem that Vivian could not solve? How did Vin get his hair so blonde? Yes. No, the problem that Vivian could not solve was where did the tissue go? Vin is amazing. She couldn't solve it. She could not solve it. But every single one of you in this room could. The question is why? Perspective. You're exactly right. Far too often in our lives, every single time there is a problem we cannot solve, the reason we believe we cannot solve it is because we've fallen victim to a silent mentality. And we're looking at things only from one point of view, our own point of view. My friends, if you want to achieve the impossible, if you want to achieve your dreams, you need to collaborate with as many different people as you can, because everybody has a different and unique perspective. Think about how many perspectives there are in this room. There's over 7,000 unique perspectives in this room. There is no problem you cannot solve if you work together. But I thought to myself, how could I prove this to a room full of thousands of people? How can I prove that perspective is power? So I created a video. So in a moment, I'm going to play a video, the first video. And I want you to watch this video and see if you can solve it. It's a magic trick. See if you can solve this video. Here we go. See if you can solve it.
What you're about to witness is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world. Now, before we go any further, I want you to make sure that every single card here is in actual fact different. That is the first thing I want you to notice. The second thing is I want you to see that the backs are all actually blue. Now, the interesting thing about the color blue is the psychological implications it actually has on the human mind. Now, if you're actually here, I would get you to cut the cards and you could pick any card you'd like at random. Because you're not, let's just go with a random card here. Let's say that's your chosen card, okay? Remember that card. It's very important you actually do remember that card. Because if you don't, this next bit actually won't make sense. So, look, I understand that this card here isn't your card. Okay? I understand that the 10 isn't. But I want you to pretend that you can visualize your card in that 10 there. So watch. If you have a look at this card here, the funny thing is, it becomes your card. Now, did you see the change? Did you see it? Not the change there. That's not the change I'm talking about. Did you see this change here? You see, because if you didn't see this change, then chances are you didn't see this change. Every single card becomes red. Every single one. And this right here is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world.
Right. So right now you're thinking, Vin, why did you show us a video? Why did you not do it here in person, live? Because if I did it here in person live, you'd have thousands of different perspectives. Of course you could solve this. But by showing you a video, you only had one point of view, one perspective. The only thing you could see was what my cameraman was showing you. You had no other perspective. How can you solve that? It's highly improbable. So what I did on the exact same day was I put another camera in the corner, a different camera, and I filmed it from a completely different perspective. So I'm going to show you now the same thing, but from a completely different perspective. See if you can solve it now. This is the second video. I think you'll find this very interesting. Same thing, different perspective.
What you're about to witness is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world. And before we go any further, I want you to make sure that every single card here is in actual fact different. That is the first thing I want you to notice. The second thing is I want you to see that the backs are all actually blue. Now, the interesting thing about the color blue is the psychological implications it actually has on the human mind. Now, if you're actually here, I would get you to cut the cards and you could pick any card you'd like at random. Because you're not, let's just go with a random card here. Let's say that's your chosen card, okay? Remember that card. It's very important you actually do remember that card. Because if you don't, this next bit actually won't make sense. So, look, I understand that this card here isn't your card. Okay? I understand that the 10 isn't. But I want you to pretend that you can visualize your card in that 10 there. So watch. If you have a look at this card here, the funny thing is, it becomes your card. Now, did you see the change? Did you see it? Not the change there. That's not the change I'm talking about. Did you see this change here? You see, because if you didn't see this change, then chances are you didn't see this change. Every single card becomes red. Every single one. And this right here is one of the oldest psychological illusions in the world.
Thank you. Did anybody see the man do this? Yeah, it took 37 takes to get right. It's very excruciating. But with the second perspective, the second time you watched it, how many of you in the room solved the problem? Did you see me switch out the cards? You solved the problem. But what's even more interesting about the second perspective, the second video, what's more interesting about that is how many of you then noticed the changes that were happening all around me? Do you know what those changes represent? Those changes represent opportunity. Far too often, when we get stuck in this silo mentality and we look at things only from one point of view and we don't collaborate with anybody else, far too often when we see it from a silo mentality, we cannot solve the problems in front of us. But more than this, we don't see all the wonderful opportunities that exist all around us. In psychology, they call this change blindness. As human beings, we all fall victim to this. My friends, the only way to achieve the dreams that you desire is if you collaborate with the wonderful minds that exist all around you. But here's the key point. If you want to find best practices for your industry, find the best people at this conference to spend time with. Learn from their perspectives. The ones especially that have been here for many years with MDRT. Find them, seek them out. Don't just spend time with people you're used to spending time with. Find new people with new perspectives. But let me tell you why. One more thing I'll prove to you. My mentor, who's a magician from the UK, he showed me this image through Skype. And he showed me this image here. I'll bring it up on screen so you can see. See this? He said, Vin, this is what problems look like. Problems look like this. Problems make no sense. There's no order. There's no pattern. And he says, when you bring someone who thinks the same as you, who spends time with you, which means they have a similar perspective to you, and you tell them to look at the same thing, and when they look at it, they go, yeah, it's confusing. There's no pattern. I don't see anything. But when you bring someone with a completely different set of experiences from a completely different industry to come look at the same thing, they will look at the same thing and they will see a pattern. They will see something because they see things differently to you. They share with you what they see. They tell you what they see. You keep an open heart and an open mind. Later that night, you go back to the problem by yourself, and among chaos, you can see order now. My friends, this is wisdom. This is wisdom. And he said to me, Vin, the objective in life is to gather as many different perspectives as we can and never fall victim to a silo mentality. If I spent all of my time with just magicians, I would have never built the online business. It was the perspective of an online business person who saw something that I could not see. My friends, as you spend time here at MDRT, look for the different and unique perspectives that exist in this room. And I encourage you to look even beyond your own industry, to look for the best practices of people in neighboring industries. Because what is innovation? Innovation is just bringing two ideas, two perspectives that have never come together before. Perspective is power. Good.